Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. And today is our final meeting for the summer. Our next meeting will be in September. But as if there are things that are needed in between, I will be making contact with you all. Um, Before I let the commissioner have the floor, I just want to give a little bit of background on what we're doing, Commissioner. We started our this committee in December, or we started meeting, and that was
Okay.
after we attended the summit that the city and county had in August. Um, since then, the Florida League has taken gun violence prevention as one of its legislative priorities, along with several others. So I think there are five. There are either five or six priorities, and gun violence prevention is one of them. So we're happy to know that. What we have been doing as we meet, because we know that there are a lot of people out there that are involved in gun violence prevention, and we wanted to see how we fit in, what we needed to do, what can we do as the league, as a committee of the league. So we started a series what we call Listen and Learn, and we invited individuals to come and speak to us and try to establish collaborations and partnerships. We have established a really good partnership with Moms Demand Action. And of course, I've been in touch with Brittany from the city's gun violence prevention program. And
Great.
and last month, not last month, a couple of weeks ago, there was a meeting where various community stakeholders came together um, and talked about the issue and came up with some various brainstorming and such. I think a couple of you were on that meeting, on that Zoom as well. So they're going to continue to meet, and I know you already know that, and we plan to continue to be involved. So as we end this fiscal year, and start into the new one, which actually starts for the league in June. But we're going to take the summer off as far as meetings go, but not as far as if we're needed to do some things, and to be involved in committee meetings and those kinds of things. We're eager to be involved, and so I saw what happened at the county when the Children's Trust Fund gave the money, made the
Yes.
donation of 25,000, I believe. And last month was going to be our last meeting. And then I had this bright idea to invite you to come and talk to us before we finished, and then to go from there. So what we like for you to do, Commissioners, just talk to us about what the county is doing, how you see us fitting in, what we can do to help. And I know you're a member of the league as well. Just talk to us about what we can do. And then if we have any questions, we'll ask during that time.
Okay. Well, I think if you've heard from Brittany about what the city is doing, you've heard a lot of what's going on from a on the ground standpoint. I mean, she's kind of become a point person for everybody, even though because the county, the city, and Santa Fe have signed an MOU agreement finally. That is finally dry on that. So we have the MOU now, and um I would say one of the things that is important is that part of the task of that group is to put together kind of a task force, a community board of sorts. It won't be a sunshine board likely, but a group of individuals who will help to provide input and guidance and support and be a conduit of information from the stakeholders that are doing the work and to the community, and from the community back to those people. And that task force has not been developed yet, but it would be great if the league had a person that was interested in participating in that group in some way, that's definitely something that I could see being a big help. Um, we are also working with the sheriff's office, the city of Gainesville Police Department, and other police departments in the community to encourage them and help them with anything that they need to do a better job of coordination and collaboration around data sharing and information sharing. Um, and so hopefully, as that's not something any of us can really do anything about as individual community members, but I think that in the past, historically, there's been a lot of turf, for different police departments and wanting to keep kind of their information and their intelligence within their own organizations. And so I think this is a really big deal and a new opportunity for us to see our law enforcement working together and collaborating and sharing that intelligence and information so that we can do a better job. So I think just encouraging them and thanking them for that kind of work and being more collaborative is definitely something that I think is important. Um, One of the biggest things that we're seeing that I think is something that the community can do something about is really about storage of firearms. And I think that if we could get a real concerted effort with MZA and the League and Black on Black and other organizations to all work together um, on a concerted effort to put together a communication plan around safe gun storage, it would make a really big difference in our community. The majority of guns that are causing these, that are sort of the weapons of the of choice for the people who are perpetuating these crimes, are mostly stolen from legal gun owners. They're taken out of people's homes or taken out of people's cars. It may be a family member that doesn't have their gun stored. Oftentimes it's in a car that isn't locked, and the gun itself does not have a trigger lock or any kind of safe or safety box. It's just in a glove compartment or a console. And young people are primarily just walking by, flipping car door handles. When they see one open, they sift through the car, and if they find a gun, they take it. Um, and that really is how most of these guns are getting into the hands of the youth that are perpetuating a lot of these crimes. So I think that for me is one of the biggest things that community could do, is just really within our spheres of influence. I mean, I think the county and the city need to collectively work on a more uh, robust marketing campaign and communication campaign and materials that folks can use. And that's something I'm actually bringing up on Tuesday. We're having a gun violence update from Manager Smart regarding all the meetings that have been had and what's going on in the various entities and avenues and what's going on with the MOU. So I'll have more to share after Tuesday, and you may want to tune into that meeting. But I do think that even without those robust materials, we have free trigger locks available through the sheriff's department and through GPD. And they're providing them to the resource centers. So Pastor Stokes has them down at the Willie Mae Stokes Center, and I believe Pastor Duncan has them at his center at the Manning Center in East Gainesville. And they can get more. We have them free of charge, freely available. So at the very least, people can put trigger locks on their guns, but even better to get them into lock boxes, gun safes, and making sure that they're secured and that their cars are locked if they're carrying a firearm. That could make a really, really, really big difference. Short of, sort of going really on the deep end and saying like we all need to vote for people who care about common sense gun laws. I think beyond that, I think a little bit of what we can do is still, unfortunately, a little bit up in the air, because I think the MOU, since we just signed it and that task force is just being developed, the sort of collaborative action plan hasn't been fully developed yet. And so I'd hate to jump the gun on, no pun intended, on what the staff in the city and what our community-based organizations and the Black Task Force are thinking about in terms of what they want to see. My big push has been that I want to make sure, well, is the marketing and communications campaigns, like being able to tell the stories. I think the other thing that I want to think about, and this is a little bit of an aside, but is the fact that there's I want to say very few. There's not very many kids and young men and women who are perpetuating these crimes, right? This is a small number of individuals. And most of them are known to us. Many of them are on probation. So law enforcement can theoretically really do something about the gun violence that's going on in our community. But what I think Commissioner Duncan Walker and Commissioner Chestnut and others have said so eloquently is that what we really need to also be focused on is what are we doing for the kids that aren't already in these situations, and where are the activities and the programs and the support and the mentorship and the job opportunities out there for these young people, and how do we celebrate the ones that are doing really great things, and how do we tell their story. And so that's something I've been pushing on the chamber to think about, and pushing on some of our other organizations that have funding and do marketing to think about is could part of a marketing campaign, in addition to talking about safe guns and safe storage, is safety with guns and safe storage, is celebrating the amazing youth that we have in our community and telling the story of all the amazing people who are making good decisions and who are, doing all kinds of wonderful things, from getting great jobs to getting into great colleges to winning championships to, we just have so much talent and amazing stories to tell. And unfortunately, the thing that dominates the news is the guy with the gun. And part of the allure, from what young people tell me, of this whole thing is notoriety, right? It's publicity and notoriety and fame. And so, we're only perpetuating that when, the person who's shooting the gun is the one who's constantly on the news and the one who's getting talked about. And so I think if we can flip that script a bit and start instead lifting up the people who are doing amazing things, I think, it's not going to change everything completely, but hopefully it would provide an opportunity for our youth to see what's possible and what can be done with perseverance and dedication and support. So that's another thing that I'm hoping to see come out of this work. And I would certainly welcome any ideas that you all have on that, or any thoughts that you have, or any individuals that you think would be great to highlight. If you know of young people in the community that we could feature if we put together a marketing campaign like this, that will certainly be something that could be helpful. Do you all have any specific questions or any things you want to tell me about as we go into sort of more conversations with the city and the county and Santa Fe about next steps?
Well, I just want to kind of go back to some of the things you've said already. Like I said, we really do want to be involved. We want to be at the table. So, when the task force does come along, sometimes we get information, or at least I get information a little bit late after the fact. I see that it's out there. So anything, you can know that the league is committed. So you can say, well, let me check with the league, or let me check with that committee and see what they
Okay.
that. So just give me a call or text or anytime when you see something come up. And we do want to be on the task force. If it's not me, it'll be one of us, if not more, if possible.
And
And
yeah,
okay.
and I don't know how they're going to structure that task force yet, how membership will go or how participation will be put together. So I'm jumping the gun a little bit to say, that you might join it, but I will, as I get more information, I will certainly share it with you, and then you can share it with the committee, and you all can make a decision about how you'd like to participate.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. I know you don't know everything right now, but just know that we are available and we want to be involved. Not like we,
Okay.
because we don't have anything to do, so we just want to find some stuff.
And y'all aren't busy at all.
No, we're not busy. And I know Susan had some questions, and I wanted to just follow up on a few other things. So, we do presentations as well, so we are available for that. I did a presentation with Moms Demand Action at Oak Hammock not long ago, just talking about what's going on, updates on the laws and different things like that. But we're available for those. We have a speakers bureau and we do presentations on all of the, of course, on voting and other things, but on gun violence prevention as well. And you talked about marketing campaign. I think that's an excellent idea, and celebrating the youth, the amazing youth. But also looking at those that don't have the opportunity, those that I know Commissioner Duncan Walker talked about mentoring programs and having and making jobs available or finding jobs for, especially during the summer. It probably really ramps up during that time. And how the community centers are not open at the time that they probably need to be, when the kids are out. And sometimes, maybe community centers could be open in the evenings and such as that. That might be something to think about as well. I don't know if that's something that's been on the but I know she has talked about that. And I'm glad to know law enforcement is working together and collaborating. And the data sharing is really important to us because we want to get data, we want to get information, and we want to create things that we can pass out in the community that talks about, statistics and so forth. So we're looking to do that. We do give out gun locks. So we give out gun locks at all of our events.
Great.
Our tabling is based around voter services, but as a part of that, we have gun locks on the
Oh,
table as
that's great.
well. And so we're doing that. But as we talk about how the kids are getting guns and the gun safety storage, I know that's the big thing, is making sure that the guns are secure. So as much as we can do that, and the fact that they're being taken from locked cars and those kinds of things, and I like the marketing campaign as well. But there's also the issue of gun violence in domestic violence, in the area of domestic violence, and in the area of suicide. I believe I read somewhere where that suicide is the number one.
It
Um,
is. It is
yeah.
the number one. And safe storage of guns is a big factor in that too, because oftentimes if someone has to unlock a safe or doesn't know how to get access to that gun and you can delay access to a gun, it will change the determination of whether that person makes the choice to take their life or not too. So safe storage of guns is important on all these fronts,
All
right?
those fronts, right.
Um, for sure. But you are correct. I mean, suicide is the number one. And oh, it would be a whole nother evening to talk to you about mental health and kind of some of the work we're doing, but also the needs that are out there around mental health. I think you did mention mentors, which I want to go back to. That's another area that the league could be helpful. Identifying people who are interested in being mentors. I think it's something that we need. One of the things that I'm advocating for as an individual commissioner, and I'll be talking about on Tuesday, is the need for really strong support around training for interrupters and mentors and people who want to interface with young people on the ground and actually do this work. I think we need robust training from an evidence-based program that has the tools and the curriculum and the supports that are necessary to do that work, because I don't think it's easy. In talking with some of the people who've tried to do mentorship for these youth, it's not your standard mentorship. It's not just having a lunch once a month and checking in with a few phone calls. It's really almost a daily activity of really kind of tracking them and being there to ask them questions, hold them accountable, push them towards good choices, and help them with a lot of things that they end up needing help with, rather that's transportation to their probation meeting, or rather that's using your network to help them get a job interview. Um, it's definitely heavy lifting mentorship, not light lift mentorship. And from what I've heard, the pastors and folks that are doing the work of trying to build mentorship programs had a hard time identifying mentors.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you. Um, Suzanne?
Oh, Commissioner, I'm new to Gainesville, and I just wondered, MOU?
Memorandum of understanding. Sorry, it's
Thank you. No, that's
yeah,
good. Thank
just
you.
a contract essentially that says we're going to work together, that we're each going to, play a role in helping to address this collaboratively. And it kind of lays out, um, in particular, the Santa Fe's role of being a convener for this task force and for, any potential like events like summit, like, and if we do another summit, things like that, that they would kind of be a main conduit for a lot of that, and also for some of the data and the evaluation, like they could also be helpful in that vein.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Will that document be available to the public, the MOU? Just so we
It
can.
will be. In fact, I think it was on an agenda recently because yeah, it is available to the public. It is a public record. I can certainly get a copy of it to you. If
Okay.
you don't mind sending me an email to remind me to my county email, aprizia@alatrocounty.us, I will get that document for you.
Okay. All right. Sheila?
I did have a question. So Commissioner, you briefly mentioned supporting those individuals running for office who support some changes in the whole gun law, but you just briefly, can you speak further on that, or why did we not talk about that a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I mean is, it's I guess because it's a big picture issue, right? Because there's lots of issues and people choose who they're going to vote for many, many reasons. But I think that one of the things that the league can do is make, I mean, and you probably are, because gun safety is one of your positions now, is making sure that when you're putting together the candidate profiles, that gun questions, gun storage and gun control questions are questions that you're asking. What is their position on gun control? What is their position, on high power magazines, like, background checks for individuals, like those sorts of things, the kinds of common sense gun laws we know work and are needed. Because a lot of times I think that can be a swing issue, and it's not something that gets talked about a lot at the local level. Like, and those local politicians, they build their platforms as local politicians, but ultimately they go on to be oftentimes, right, or they come back and forth to be state legislatures or senators or representatives, and they will be in positions to be able to make a difference and make change in legislation around gun control. And so we really need to start building a bench of people who care about gun control and who are willing to stand up to the lobbies and the NRA and the gun manufacturers, to actually start passing some of these laws.
And they are on the table. There's a lot of legislation on the table, and we give updates every so often on that. We can usually find that on our website. But yes, we are pushing for that, and we are asking the questions. So that's just
great.
one of those questions that we need to be asking when we're looking at the candidates. Like Commissioner said, what is your what is your stance on gun violence control and gun violence safety, and make that's part of it, being an informed voter, to know what they
Yeah.
are pushing, and if they are looking at the issues that you're interested in. So we are doing that, but we have a lot, because just recently, or in the last session, Representative Henson put forth a bill on gun safety. What about the cars, the not being locked in the cars, or the car, I forget what it was actually called, but it was about the
Yeah.
about the guns being taken from vehicles and so forth. It didn't make it. I don't think it didn't make it out of committee, but it is, those are the things that we need to make sure that our representatives are pushing when they go to Tallahassee.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I thank you for taking the time to come and meet with us this evening.
Absolutely.
And as I said, I will reiterate that whenever, when you know that there are things that we might be able to assist with, let us know. And when things come up, you can say, well, I can check with the league and see if if that's something that they can assist with. And
Okay.
we will. But we want to, it is a priority. If it's a priority at the state level, then that means that it has to be a priority at our level as well. So
Okay.
so we have to show. I meet monthly with we have the state has a committee like this as well. So
Okay.
so they're doing different things in various communities and trying to create relationships with the sheriff's offices and so forth. And they're doing a lot of marketing campaigns also, like
Yeah.
having those individuals come and do PSAs or just general commercials with them on that, or campaigning, or making it on billboards and so forth. So all of those things are happening, and we're trying to find our way in order to make a difference in our community. So
Yes,
we
ma'am. Well, I'll be
that.
happy to keep you all informed. I'll get that MOU to you, and certainly after we have our update on Tuesday, I could follow up with anything that comes out of that meeting that might be an update to what I've told you tonight, and any other new action items or opportunities that are available. I'll forward that on to you.
Okay. What time is your meeting on Tuesday?
The meeting starts at 11:30.
11:30.
But when that will be on the agenda is hard to know. We have a
Right.
big agenda on Tuesday, and I think it's a presentation, and presentations come after the action items, so it will probably be later in the day.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure I tune in.
Yeah, you can tune in, and it's recorded, and the recording is attached to the agenda, so you can click on the actual agenda item and it'll hop to that part of the video, which makes life a lot more convenient.
Yeah, I remember that when I worked for the city. So I worked and
Yeah.
I say it's recent retirement, but it was 2019 actually.
Amazing how fast time flies, huh?
It flies so quickly. But again, thank you for your time, and we really
Okay.
appreciate the information that you shared with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It was nice to meet you all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was good information, and we will probably see her on Sunday as well, because we will have a panel on the those that are running for city commission, county commissioner, sheriff, and for the state. So I don't have anything else, ladies. But I think she gave us some ideas on some things that we were just talking about, like what could we create to pass out. So I think that if we can find that data that was talked about, and something about celebrating amazing youth. I mean, maybe we could even do that. Maybe we could just highlight youth in different things that we do. But those are some ideas that we can work from there as well. Wanda, you were gonna say something?
Do we have to RSVP to the event on Sunday? Or we just
No.
Okay.
No, you don't. You just show up.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I was thinking maybe that we should try to create a flyer to hand out with the gun locks we hand out.
because some people just really don't know just how they know gun violence is a problem, but they don't know how big a problem it is. And if we could somehow kind of come up with a flyer or a handout or a brochure that we could hand out with the gun locks explaining just highlight, the crimes like, stealing a gun out of car, but highlight suicide. Some people might not know that suicide is the number one reason, the number one user of guns who is suicide. So we might not even know that. And so maybe we could look at their data or look at the state gun violence initiative and see if we can piggyback off of a flyer they have or tweak it to make it our own to hand out along with the gun locks. So people understand why they need gun locks. Not only is it killing, you're thinking, oh, I got a gun because it's going to kill a burglar. Well, if he comes to my house, but more than likely, it may be somebody in your house having a mental health crisis and it's going to kill them instead of the burglar that you had that gun for. So if we can, we can give out that information to people and cause people to start to think more.
Right. That's a good idea. And because even if they don't need a gun lock, they could take information to say, did you know this? Or it could be like a little card that say, did you know?
Yeah, like a little note that, did you know
is
the number one, number one gun violence issue in the country. We can make little cards back and front that says, these facts, that way you don't bombard people with stuff, but they have a little card and they go like, oh, I never thought about that. And they may think about a person who is in their home having a mental health crisis. Maybe I better lock this gun away from, from them just until I'm sure they're okay again or getting the help they need.
Right. Or kids in the home with guns.
Or kids in the home. And, remind them about, things like how much gun violence kind of increases when the kids are home for the summer or when they're out for the holidays. We make the assumption that everybody knows, and not all the time everybody does know. Or if they know, they don't see it as a concrete. When you give them concrete facts,
right? And another thing that we try to make sure is clear is we're not telling you that you should not own a gun.
No.
We're just telling you. We're just saying you need to store it safely.
You need to store it safely for your sake and everybody in your house's sake,
right?
As well. So so we won't do the whole you don't deserve, nobody should have guns in their houses. We'll do more like, these are things that happens when you have guns in your house, and these are the things you can do to make it safe, make that gun that's in your house safer. Like, you assume everybody knows you don't leave a gun in the glove compartment of your car, but not everybody thinks like that. That doesn't occur to everybody that I shouldn't leave my gun in the glove compartment of my car and then leave my car unlocked and kids going by pulling on doors. Not everybody thinks that, but if you give them those concrete facts, it may make them think a little better about it. So that was just something I was thinking about, excuse me, that we could possibly do with some of the funds we have, is create this, this little card to hand out with the gun locks. And if they don't want the gun lock, can you at least take the card? And learn these facts, and maybe the next time they see us, they'll want the gun lock.
Right. And it also gives us talking points when we're standing there. So it gives us something to engage them, because, most of that, again, the tabling is going to be about voting and about being registered and about making sure everything, all those important things about voting, but also then we need to say something about why gun violence prevention or why safe gun storage is necessary. So that gives us some talking points as well.
And then we can talk points off of the card we create. So maybe that's something we can work on to create this, just like a little front back card, that, because sometimes people won't take the gun lock, but they might be willing to take the card. And if that card saves one person's life, then we've done an amazing job. If that just saves one person's life.
That's right. And the because as far as there are statistics on as it relates to suicide, that the fact that the gun had a lock on it and you had to actually think about, I got to take this lock off before I got to work at something. I got to work hard. I got to work hard if I'm going to decide I'm going to do this to myself. And sometimes that has saved that shows
just
that it saves lives to give them well. Just that few minutes
to give them time to think.
Right.
Might be what triggers them to say, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Right.
We can even include some mental health phone numbers, for families who are in crises. Some families have a loved one is in crisis, but they don't even know who to call.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
that's
so
good.
if we talk about suicide being the one of the biggest, you know, guns being the mode of operation for a lot of suicide, put some kind of hotline on there that they can call, you know, because when that person's in the throes of a mental health crisis, you don't have time to be trying to think, who do I call? You know, but if you have that card that we handed out, you can go like, oh wait, I had this something somebody gave me. Let me go find that and call somebody.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and Wanda, as you talk about it, as I said, we won't be meeting for the next couple of months, but that doesn't mean we can't be working on these things that we're discussing right here.
Mm-hmm.
So start thinking about that, ladies. What's some things that we can put on these cards, and if you have ideas on that, send them forth, and let's have that card ready by the time September gets here. If
That's what
not,
I was
and
thinking, that we could have that card ready for when we really ramp up ourselves in September. Have that card, don't be ready, don't be making the card in September, have it ready in
have it
September.
ready in September.
So at the first table that we're at, we already have that card, we already have the gun locks, you know, we're ready to do this.
Oh, sound like somebody want to take the lead on this. I'm just
I'm not good at drafting, making pretty, but I can help with the information or what we should put on there.
If you can take the lead on the information, we can figure out the pretty part.
You know, I can't make the pretty part, but I can help, you know, with making the information that
Yeah.
we can put on this card. You know, and I'm not, you know, some little, you know, little half quarter page little cards, sort of like
And
what
they
we
could
did
be
for
different. You could create several cards that
several
have
cards.
different information.
Have
Yeah.
different information on them and stuff, you know, and so we would just have to get the information to put on that card, and then we just have somebody make pretty and have them and use some of that funds we have to make these cards, you know, and give them out. Like I said, if that one card saves one life,
Yeah.
we're done. We've job well done for the league at that point.
Very good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne?
Suzanne?
I was just gonna say, you didn't know, I was just gonna say, I wonder, you've been guiding us on collaboration, and maybe Moms Demand Action has a few examples of what we're talking about that we could use to put together and find out if there's anything in there that might be useful or some way they've done. But I would volunteer to work with Wanda over the summer. If you want to be the lead, I could be your helper. If you want to get together, and when Sheila gets back, I don't know when Sheila's coming back. You are coming back, right, Sheila?
I'm kind of in and out of town for the next 3 weeks.
But what I was thinking was that we could create a card. It's not, I can, Suzanne and I can get the card made, and then we share it with you guys, and you guys put your input to it. So it'll be like a collaborative effort between all of us on the committee to say, well, let's put this instead of this, or put this there. And then once we all agree, okay, this is what we wanted to say.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And then once we say, yes, this is it, then we can put it together, you know, because great minds together can create a lot of things. So that's what I was thinking, to do something like that.
I love it.
Who will have the statistics that we would want to include?
I'm gonna call Brittany again and try to get those from her, and or from I think Commissioner Duncan Walker mentioned someone I should call, but I didn't write it down at the time, so I'm gonna get with her as well and find out where I can get the stats from, and go from there. But I'm loving what I'm hearing, because I've been ready for us to start doing something, and this is the start. This is the start of doing something. So I'm glad that you all are eager to get started.
Yeah, because you can't give people lots of information, because you lose them after about people live in a one-click world, and so you can't bombard them with a lot of statistics. Just little facts, just little blurb, little facts, you know, that we can give them that they can remember. If nothing else, they can remember a phone number, you know, and say these are the things we're doing and stuff like that.
And I have a couple of pins that said, "Ask me what I'm doing about gun violence prevention." And so,
Yeah.
you know, when you're wearing that and somebody comes, or you walking around at a table in an event and somebody sees that, that's another conversation starter. So yeah, I would be glad. I'm happy that you, Wanda, and Suzanne are gonna start working on this, and so that we will have something. And I'll work on trying to get those statistics.
Yeah, so
And
we get the
we-
statistics. It's just a matter of laying it out, how we want to lay
right,
out,
right.
how we want to lay out the card.
And I think we can get that from several sources. So we can get that. But when, as you all are thinking about putting this together, think about, again, not just, you know, we can have different cards that say different things as well, so that we have a little bit of information on various cards.
Yeah,
So
because
that,
and it also depends upon where we're at. If we're at an event where there's a lot of youth that's going to be there, maybe we might want to have a card that's more tailored to them and what they're interested in.
right.
You know, and and how does gun violence impact me as a youth in the community? You know, so I like the idea that you said about having different kind of almost like different versions of the same information, just in a different version, based upon who our targeted audience is.
Yeah, something that might say, if you own a gun, lock your car.
Yeah, if you own a gun, lock your car. That's all we're asking you to do. If you own a gun, lock your car.
Yeah.
And if you own a gun and lock your car, by the way, you could also put a gun lock on it and then lock your car, and then
right, those kinds of things. Yeah.
Just
So
little
so
things.
any little tidbits that would catch attention would be great.
right, anything that show them things that this doesn't take a lot of effort. These are not things that you've got to go out and do a lot to do. We're giving you the free gun lock. All we're asking you to do is put it on your gun. And if you're going to leave it in your car, lock your car.
Exactly.
You know, because this happens in all neighborhoods where kids come through jiggling car doors.
Yes.
You know, trying to see what they can find. People think because they live in what they call a good neighborhood, that doesn't happen. It happens in every neighborhood where the kids go out.
And that's the point that I make, that this gun violence prevention and safety is an issue, is a entire community issue. It's not one demographic issue.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does the league have a relationship with a printing
Yes.
company? Okay.
Yes.
So with good rates and okay.
You know, we don't have to start out printing out a whole bunch of them. Just, you know, start out with a small. We'll have once we create it, we'll have the card. So start out with some of them, see how well they go over. You know, at the tabling events we do maybe in September, and then if we think they're going over real well, then, you know, we can always go back and have some more printed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that the printing is the biggest expense. I think the setup is the biggest expense.
Yeah, that's the
And
biggest expense.
once they get that,
the graphic design.
Printing is relatively cheap.
And we have several people that can do that. I can help with that. Connie will help with that. Candy, we'll get all of that in order. And I do believe that the printer that we generally use is Renaissance.
Okay.
But we'll figure that part out once we get it all put together. So this sounds good. Wanda, did you see Suzanne's email address?
Yeah, but it got off the screen too quickly and I missed it. So I will
just click chat. It's in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Okay,
you know, I've been stopped working too long and I miss all that stuff.
It's shuttle1@icloud.com.
Okay.
You can take a picture of it if you open it up in the chat.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, just get in touch, Wanda, with me, your humble helper, and we'll go from there.
Okay, that's perfect. We'll get in touch. And like Gwen said, if you get us the information, then we can start to figure out what we want to say on this card. Like I said, we don't want to bombard them with a lot of information, but we want to give them just the facts, you know, just some things did you know.
I think as you all get together, you'll start to brainstorm and come up with some things, and you can share them with us. But yeah, this is a real good positive start to
Mhm.
our next steps after our
Okay.
gun locks. And on our gun locks, we have something on the table. We have, thanks to Suzanne, that actually points it out. That's not just sitting on the table and people miss it or think that it's a bicycle lock or something like that. So,
Mhm.
and then something to also bring attention to the gun locks. But now we'll start to have other information, and if we want to get buttons and various stuff like that, we'll start to work on all of those things that will help us in what we're doing.
Yeah, like I like that theme you're talking about ask me about gun violence,
Mhm.
that could be a good thing. And then and then we can kind of piggyback off of that to say, ask me about gun violence. Some people don't want to ask you about gun violence, but if you give them something that says, ask me about gun violence, and you have these facts for them, they're more
Mhm.
apt to take it from you than wanting to
Yeah.
have a discussion, because some people don't want to talk to people. Yes.
Yeah, Suzanne.
Well, I just wanted to say, because Sheila's here, that really that started with a meeting a couple of months ago, and we were talking about how to promote gun locks. And Sheila's the one that said, we need a sign that says, ask us about gun locks.
Mhm.
And in my experience tabling in the last few months, that sign has made a huge difference in terms of the number of gun locks that have gone out.
Yeah, so we could actually piggyback off.
As Wanda said too, it's a great way to phrase,
Mhm.
an engagement, with someone. So.
Yeah.
And
So,
we are keeping up. We're keeping up with how many gun locks we give out as well, because that's important to note also. So now when we table, we have a sheet that has us to tally and keep up with the information that we're sharing. So that gives us our statistics for that.
okay, so we'll see what you get us, if you can get me some statistics and some facts that we
Well,
might.
you start with what you're thinking in your head, and then we'll work on the statistics as they come along, because they're not going to
Okay.
readily come like right away.
Okay.
So, if you all meet and just start thinking about things you can say just about based on what safe gun storage, that kind of thing. What why it's important and all of that.
Okay.
Then you get that going, and then we'll work on the other parts.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Anything? Go ahead, Ron. Wanda, you want to say something else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Sheila, were you about to say something? You on mute? Oh, okay.
No, I hear a baby crying, so I'm gonna go see
Oh,
if I can help out.
You being summoned.
yeah, and you've been gone from that baby for about 45 minutes. That's
Oh,
no.
it's longer
And
than
that's too
that.
long. That's too
That's a
long.
lifetime in
on
a
this
baby's life.
meeting right here. So it's time for you to get back to the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Suzanne,
right.
do you have
Good
anything?
meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, all of y'all.
All right. Thank you all
Thank
so
you,
much. And
Gwendolyn.
I'll see some of you on Sunday, and I'll look to hear from Juan and Susan soon, and we will go from there. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Susan, I'll
All
be in
right.
touch.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Y'all take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.